Monday, May 7th, and we're still, rolling on through our daily dose of reality advice, questions, and answers. I'm getting a little bit of a late start today. Man, they were, I don't know what happened, but they had like these intersections all blocked off. Heck of police cars. It was just something big happened there. I don't know what. But anyway, it made me late getting back to the house. So here we go. I don't waste a lot of time. These questions today are kind of doozies. I looked over them a little bit. Miss Cooper, can you address those of us who are afraid of achieving success while having no children to pass it down to and are obsessed with the concept of a legacy or family image? What? I am a 23-year-old female. I'm black, and I'm currently a pre-nursing student aiming to become a nurse anesthesiast in the future. Coming from a poor Haitian immigrant parent, this has caused me to have a stressful view of parenting that discouraged me from considering children in the future. Yet, at the same time, I feel that I need someone to pass something down to. I constantly feel that my success will be worthless if I have no children. I mean, what would be the point in me having a nice salary, a nice house, great hobbies, and a great marriage if I have no children to share and give that lifestyle to? And what will I pass down after accumulating material success? I know that sounds odd for a regular person. Usually the concept of a family legacy is spoken of as a rich person issue. But I envy other people who have perfect families or perfect childhoods. Who is them folks? I do acknowledge that this has a lot to do with my resentment towards my parents and me wanting to have children as a sense of closure for my childhood. The problem is that I have a difficult time shaking off this insecurity. Okay, first of all, you ain't your parents, okay? You have yourself set up to be, in a very nice situation once you finish school and get employment. You'll be making a nice little chunk of change. Now, looking at how you grew up versus the life that you could establish for yourself in the future, why are you doing that to yourself? What does that have to do with now? You talking about when you were, like walking around in diapers and in grade school and stuff, and you're still hanging on to that experience as if you have no power to make something different. I'm not understanding where you're coming from. If you really feel like you can't get, excuse me, past this on your own, you better look into some therapy, because you hanging on to stuff from the past for far too long. What we were as a children, once we hit adulthood, we can let all that fly. We can create our own whatever we want to, because now we're grown and we have money and we have education and we have our own friends, our own home, our own existence, our own credit. We have everything that we need to form whatever kind of life we look to have. So still hanging on to that old stuff, that's a problem. I'm having a problem with that, and I want you to do something about it. Now, as far as having children goes, the nice salary, the nice house, the great hobbies, all that stuff is for you. That's for your life. That has nothing to do with anybody else. Even if you were married and if you did have children, you should still have a nice salary, a nice house, and great hobbies. You see what I'm saying? So trying to associate that with a legacy, I mean, that again, it makes no sense. Now, if you have a good marriage, plenty of people have a good marriage and they are not, they have no children, either because they don't want any or because they can't have any. But either way, their marriage is good. They concentrate on each other and everything is fine. Your issue may be, if you decide you don't want children and you meet some guy who does, you guys are going to have, you either to stay with him, you're going to have a baby for him, or you have to let him go. So that's going to be something for you to consider, because he should not be denied children if that's what he wants for himself. That's his dream. Your dream is not to have any. So there's going to be some issues there. Somebody going to have to give, and I have a feeling it would be you. And my final thought on this is, you don't have to have nary a child. Don't you have some nieces and nephews? You know what I mean? Some cousins. I mean, you can always leave stuff to them, divide it up between them. Or you can do like a lot of rich people do, and they establish a foundation. They establish some scholarship or something. They do something like that so their money goes into that, and then it is dispersed to those who need it. Um, that's a nice way to make a mark on the world. It doesn't have to be through your children. That's very small. Uh, that's a very small view of the world. You can create something that will be known all over the country, and do a lot of good for people. Maybe you can set up some kind of foundation that helps other black students, do the prerequisites to become a nurse anesthetist like you. There's all kind of things you can do with your money and your property and everything after you move on to the next level of life. But it doesn't have to go to your children. And let me tell you something about working where I worked in APS for a while. People's kids are trifling as fuck. Okay, just trifling as all get out. So you thinking, oh, I'm doing this, I'm building up this, I'm gonna have my, help my children, this and that. They be waiting for you to die. There's a couple of cases where they actually killed the parents because they wanted what the parents were gonna give them before the parents, were ready to go. So I know there was one case, yeah, I remember reading about one in Chicago. This woman, I think she was a hairdresser, owned a big hair salon or something, and her son killed her because he wanted, the money, he wanted insurance and stuff before she died. That was just one recently, but when I worked for APS, I ran into a lot of those. Or they just, take over the people's money and bank accounts, take over their house and put them in a home. Put them in some roomy house somewhere with bed bugs and stuff, so that they can have the parents' nice home and the nice car and the property and the bank accounts and all the stuff. So from my perspective, I wouldn't do shit to leave a legacy for a kid. I'm leaving my daughter some life insurance policies and stuff, but she doesn't even know how much they are. I have that in the hands of my cousin. And so if something happens to me, she'll be set up. She'll have a nice little chunk of change. And but as far as me, that's not like my focus. My focus for my life is for me to enjoy it, and I would hope that's the same for hers. So I have a lot of issues with how you're thinking, young lady, and I want you to sit down and go listen to this advice that I'm giving you, and figure out what you can do to think about this a little bit differently. And think about your extended family. Some of those kids, maybe those kids need help going to college because their parents can't afford it. They need help, with books or something. I mean, there's all kind of things you can do to create a quote legacy that does not have to go, be gifted to like the flesh that came from you. All right. Whew. Let's move on. Letter number 2. My boyfriend is 54 and I am 43. What's that, 11 years? Okay. He's been married 2 times before. Damn. And has erectile problems. The problem is, I think he also has a fear of penetrating a woman. What would make a man feel that way? He's gay. Is this a trick question? Question number 3. My ex-boyfriend has just come back into the picture after us having been apart for 10 months. I broke up with him because I didn't get a gift last Valentine's Day. He took me out to dinner, but he said he didn't have the money for a gift. But of course I was upset and hurt because I felt that he knew Valentine's Day was coming up long before it happened. At any rate, that's true. And he just came back into the picture. A friend of his died and it made him realize how much I meant to him. The thing is, I've never felt that bombs bursting in air feeling with him. I really wasn't attracted to him in that way when we first met, and said I'd just be a friend to him, but he was so nice I later became hooked. We were together 2.5 years, and it's always been a comfortable feeling. He loves me and I love him, but he's not romantic at all, and I'm the type that likes flowers at the job, surprises, that kind of thing. He's talking marriage, and I know that he would be a good husband and we would get along, but I've never felt like I was in love with him. We have fun together, we get along well, but it had just gotten to that oh so comfortable I could take you for granted type of love. I'm just wondering if it's possible to be in love with someone and not know it, or if it's like they say, if you have to think about it. Could it be possible love slipped in while I wasn't looking? Well, let's put it this way. How much does bombs bursting in air indicate a successful, positive, growth-oriented marriage. It means not a goddamn thing. That's see, you confusing what you have with a boyfriend with what you have with a husband. Um, this is the way I kind of figure. I'm looking at this. I'm like, mm-mm-mm. This is the way that I think. There's a couple of very simple questions that you could think of that will kind of focus your feelings, your thoughts on what you should be to this man. Because I'm looking at, maybe you were with him because you were lonely, or maybe he was lonely, or you were bored and you didn't want to be by yourself. I mean, who knows? But anyway, think about this. Can you very easily live without him in your life? Like for those 10 months that you all was broken up, how did you feel? Did you think about him? Did you wonder what he was doing? Did you worry about him? Did you miss him? And then number two, if you imagine him leaving your life right now and never, ever, ever coming back, never talking to him, never seeing him ever again, how do you feel? Do you feel depressed, anxious? Or do you feel, nothing, excited? Um, I think if the answer to either one of those questions is a no, that you can't live without him in your life very well, and you're depressed as a thought, then I would say that's the man for you. Now, a lot of people think that, you get married to the person that you have all these fireworks with. Fireworks are nice, don't get me wrong. But you better have a whole bunch more in play than just that. See, that's how people get caught up in situations with stupid people, because they're chasing that feeling instead of looking at, does this person have the qualities that would make us have a secure, happy, safe for children, emotionally safe, stable, good communication, bills paid, I don't have to stress out, all that kind of marriage. And if he's putting down that pipe right, trust me, your ass will be in love. You tripping. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know, it- there's a lot of young girls pick who they want to marry or not marry based on, um, the what you call this. I call them fireworks, bombs bursting in there, same thing. Um, That's really like the worst reason to think that you should marry somebody or be with them. That shit burns out, plays out. It gets you all in all kind of nonsense because you're thinking with your genitalia instead of with your brain. And I don't know. I mean, my videos are full of women who did that. The guy was this, he was so hot, he just made me feel this way, blah, blah, blah. And then they write into an advice column this, they're in all this emotional trauma and having all this drama from this man who knows he has a nose open, wide open like a tunnel. So, you got a man who's serious about you, he's committed to you, he wants to be with you, he does nice things for you, he honors and respects you. Um, he's already said that you mean a lot to him. I mean, I'm like, what is it that you think that you're supposed to have in a husband? Husbands are different from boyfriends. I keep telling y'all, you don't marry the person that's got boyfriend qualities, because it's that's just he's not the one. Okay, he's just for fun. Um, I'm thinking, if you feel fine about him not being around, though, you aren't really clear on what you feel about him, then don't marry him. Just stop wasting his time and stop wasting yours and just break it off. Just tell him, it's not really what you want. Because I could tell you, when I first met my husband, I felt like that too. I mean, not like he was boring or anything like that, but there was definitely no sparks, no fireworks. I was kind of like, what? Ew, about him. But as I, spent more time with him, his funny side came out. His intelligence wasn't so impressive. He was just such a kind and thoughtful and generous and caring person. All of those things impressed me. Um, I don't know. So, I mean, gradually, my guard was let down. And, I realized, like I was telling you, I felt if he wasn't around, I wouldn't feel so great. I wouldn't be quite as happy as I was when I was with him. And that was what finally, pushed me over to the side to marriage. But don't be in a situation where you're just comfortable and secure and you can't really appreciate what this man is doing for you, because it's just not cool. Okay, that's not cool. So let's move on. Letter number 4. That took me back down memory lane. Deb, in terms of a broader conversation on attire, oh, yeah, this must be related to the Aisha thing. Could you talk about how some black women are presenting themselves in public today? I worked in a busy office in Midtown Manhattan a couple of years ago, and black women in their mid to late 20s would get on the elevator with a head rag on Monday mornings. Huh. Wait, at the work spot with a head rag on? Wow. I've been in the subway, on the streets, and in the airport and on planes, and I've seen it with hair bonnets and headscarves on looking crazy. This shit needs to stop, but if you say something about how to dress or act in public spaces, sisters get all bent out of shape. Oh, that's very true. I can tell you one thing. I worked at this brokerage firm, right? And I was the first black person they'd ever hired. And then they hired this other woman. Oh my God. So they had this retreat at the Silverado Country Club. I'll never forget it. It was my first time going there. But luckily, I had aunts and uncles and stuff, and people around me who spent time in corporate America. My dad had some attorneys, Robert Cartwright and them is what we used to call them, down in San Francisco downtown. And I used to watch how their wives dressed, and you go in downtown, you would see how the professional women dressed. And you go, watch TV and stuff. And we lived in San Francisco, not too far from the Opera House and the Civic Center and stuff. And many times, we'd be at the library or something and coming by, you would see how the women would be dressed going to these events. So I figured out pretty early how to dress appropriately for more upscale occasions and dress as a professional. But we had this retreat, right? And the other sister came, and I don't know where she got these clothes. Must have been from Kmart or something. So they had this dinner party, right? It's like an after 5 dinner party. Everybody's wearing, nice, like businessy, but after 5-y type thing, jewelry, stuff to like dress up their basic black dress. And this sister came in with looked like a skirt. That's what they call them now, like a shorts, that looked like a skirt, and some kind of tank top, like she was going to a picnic. Everybody looked at her, and I was just so embarrassed because I'm like, damn, if you didn't know what to wear, you should have asked me. And so she stood out like a sore thumb, and she looked like, like a ghetto hood rat, like she didn't know nothing about how to conduct herself in this kind of environment. Smart girl, but like socially inept. And that is so anyway, I ended up getting a promotion. She didn't get one. And she didn't get one because they felt like she didn't fit in. She didn't, she was kind of an embarrassment to the management. And these are real rich Jew boys. So they really wasn't trying to have all that going on and having their clients, because this days did institutional banking, right? So they're handling multi-million-dollar accounts. And everybody had to have their shit together. And she didn't. So, she wasn't going to be put in a position where she was up front and center representing the company in any way, shape, or form, anywhere. And I knew all that as soon as I saw their faces looking at her, right? So I'm like, okay, see, these young girls, I don't know who they have telling them about how to go out of the house or how to appear when you're going into a professional environment. You do not wear a fucking headscarf on your head. Okay, flip-flops and stuff. They be doing all that too. And this one girl I saw, she's going to work, and she had on like this, like a crop top, like a belly, where it shows your belly button, and some little short skirt and stuff, and she's prancing around. And it's like, okay, look around you. Why do you see these women dressed? Why do you think you should come in here looking like a nightclub hoochie to this expensive ass office? What are you doing? What are you thinking? So I'm wondering, sometimes like even if you don't know, you don't have anyone like I did to kind of guide you and tell you, you could Google stuff, proper attire for a corporate dinner party. work clothes ideas for spring, professional attire for women, summer. I mean, because clothes change in the season, especially if you live like where she did in New York. You're gonna be wearing like coats and boots. They're gonna be dressing a lot differently than they do here in California. But you young ladies, you guys got to get your shit together. I know everybody's be like, oh, I dress that way I want to. Yeah, but the way you want to is stupid. It makes you look stupid. It makes nobody take you seriously. And if you try, you went to school or something, you trying to do something with yourself, you trying to achieve a certain goal financially, professionally. I mean, if you're not, then this conversation is not for you. But if you are, then how you present yourself to the people in power who have the opportunity to, get you into courses, put you in courses and take you to conferences or send you and, mix and mingle and give you mentors and meet, people who could be your mentors and stuff like. I mean, you have a lot more opportunities when you fit in. And nobody's saying you have to get, wear the white girl paid cut or anything like that. I'm talking about how address yourself. Dress yourself in a professional manner. A blazer and a skirt and a blouse, or like a two-piece dress thing or something. I mean, there's so many options these days. So many different kind of clothes and pantsuits and all kind of stuff you can wear. Even like little suits with the culottes, to come down below your knees. What they used to call them, gauchos or something. But so I saw some women downtown with those, and they had their high heels on. It looked very cute. They had their jewelry on and all that stuff, and they had their little laptop bag, and it looked, it looked fresh and funky, but professional at the same time because they had nice colors and stuff. So there's all kind of ways. You don't need to be going around in public with your ass crack showing. Remember that style where people wore a thong and it was kind of like sagging for women, but they would let the top of their thong show so that like you guys saw some butt cheek out. I never understood that style. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? That's like how hoes dress. Why are you dressing like that? And these are like 16, 17, 18-year-old girls. Just no. But you're right. You can't tell nobody nothing. They don't want to listen. But it's here on the video. It's some ideas for searches you can do. You want to dress, and shoot yourself in the foot in a way that where people will not take you seriously and think something, you dumb. Then you do that. Feel free. Nobody cares. It's just because I'm gonna be me, and you're gonna be over there still making the same salary after 20 years because you don't know how to act. Okay, and letter number 5. This is the last one for today. Can you elaborate on the topic of awkward men? I was recently dating a man who's 35, not the most attractive guy, but I figured since I'm new to dating again after being divorced for a few years, I'd give him a try. He's very nice, respectful, and courteous. While dating, he tended to show that he really liked me by doing nice things and whatnot. However, he seemed to be super awkward, uncomfortable, unassertive, and weird acting. Uh-oh. He must sounds kind of Aspergery. After a few months of dating, we became intimate, and even after that, he was very awkward acting. Maybe he was a virgin. Maybe that was his first piece. He seemed to be afraid to touch me or be unassertive, yet he always wanted me around. He's not the funniest guy, and he's somewhat bland and a little boring. I had the talk with him and let him know that the chemistry is off and it wasn't going to work. However, he tried to step his game up a little bit, but not enough to change my mind. Then one night, which was the last straw for me, while walking to my car, he pulls me in for a kiss goodnight, and then he just got in close and he stopped and he just stood there. It was the most stupidest thing I'd ever seen and experienced. Yeah, for guy 35, I'm like, yeah. The next day I told him we should just be friends and keep it simple because his awkwardness and lack of assertiveness was making me uncomfortable. And I'm someone who's fairly comfortable and outgoing, and I really enjoy being with someone who's comfortable with themselves. He seemed to not show me much of himself and play it safe for the most part. I normally, in the past that is, dated men who were more alpha, but since most are normally on some bullshit, I decided to date down in a sense. And now it's like he doesn't get that I'm not interested. He still texts and calls like we're dating, and truthfully, I'm unimpressed, nor do I have a desire to try with him. He makes statements like, I never met someone like you, and so forth. And I think he is infatuated with me even more. I don't know. I let him know that it's best we should just be friends and be cool, because I really feel it's not my place to show him how to be comfortable and secure within himself. What do you think? I don't know what to fucking think. This guy. um, it's okay. I think you are putting too much on it. Okay, considering you guys only dated for a few months. Um, you know, a lot of women are used to guys just, doing the bum rush. And when a guy really respects you and he's just terrified of making a mistake and he's terrified of coming on too strong because he doesn't want to offend you, he doesn't want to make it seem like all he's doing is after your body or something like that, he's going to take it real slow. And that sounds like what he's doing. Now, part about him not being funny and stuff like that, I mean, that's just maybe his personality. But he sounds like, a good dude in every other respect. Um, but if you're just not feeling him, then you're not feeling him. I mean, he sounds like a good dude, but I guess he's just not a good dude for you. So, I mean, you don't need to feel, justify it or try to stay with somebody that doesn't do it for you. But it seriously sounds to me like his major concern is offending you and are coming on too strong or showing you too much neediness or aggressiveness that 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 you find repugnant or something along those lines. So he's being very coming across as somewhat timid because he really likes you that much and he just does not want to do anything to mess it up. Unfortunately, with the expectations that you had, he ultimately did mess it up because he was being a little bit too cautious. Now, even I don't understand that thing about going in for the kiss and then not doing it. I mean, obviously he had the desire to, but he held back. Usually when that kind of thing happens, it's either, like I said, he's trying to be uber respectful, or he's got such low self-esteem that he doesn't feel like you are really that attracted to him anyway, and so why press himself onto you. I've met some guys like that. So in this case, you know just continue to put distance between you because you're just not feeling him. So it doesn't matter what he does at this point, it's not going to be good enough. You've already made up your mind that he's not good enough. And that's kind of unfortunate. I think had this been handled in a different way, like you should have wrote me when all this first started going down and you were having these feelings, I would have guided you into how to help bring out his personality and make it more comfortable. And it is your place to show him that. You in a relationship with him, he's just getting to know you. What the fuck? Whose responsibility is it then? See, you got a little bit wrong ideas here, girlfriend. You can't be, thinking that Mr. Perfect's gonna show up, because what happens when you got a guy who's Mr. Perfect and you don't have to do nothing? Either he's really old or he's really experienced. And at only 35, if he was Mr. Smooth, see, that means that he's been fucking a whole bunch of women and having a whole bunch of different relationships and not really being committed to anyone. This guy, that's not the case. So he's not real sure what to do because he doesn't have that much experience with women. He likes you. And so that's what he wanted. But like I said, you don't want to do it, so that's fine with me. That's all we got to say on that. But that's it for today. You guys have some questions you want to submit. Do not post them on the forum on the channel. Send them in. Go to the link that's in the show description page and submit them on that advice submission form, so I can get some information like your age, your gender, I don't know. I forgot what it asks right now. But anyway, there's a release on there too that gives me permission to do what I just did. So, you posted them on the wall. I'm not going to accept those questions anymore. I want you to go through the proper channels. And so we'll be back tomorrow with some 5 more questions. And then on Wednesday, I won't be putting up one. We'll be doing the live stream, okay? With the live stream on setting up boundaries and establishing and adhering to boundaries and taking care of yourself first. Those are the 2 topics that we'll be covering in that hour. We start at 6 p.m. Pacific time, So I don't know if you're on the East Coast, that's 9. You're on Central Time, that's 8, right? I think. So I hope to see you there. Come with your energy. And if you have a question that about the topic that I just stated, which is establishing and maintaining boundaries, and putting yourself first. If you have a question that pertains to that topic, be sure to send it in before Wednesday, and then I can address it on the air live, okay? This is Deb Cooper signing out. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye-bye.